afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the second Upskill webinar. And this webinar is part of Erasmus Days 2020, where in 3 days, numerous projects funded by Erasmus Plus are organizing different type of events throughout Europe. My name is Marian, I'm project manager with UPC, and I will be your host for today. So the topic for today is a digital future of plastics factories with a subtopic on how to successfully collaborate on an Erasmus Plus project. In addition, we will use this opportunity to present goals and progress of our Upskill project. Just a reminder, Upskill is a project, of course, co-founded by Erasmus Plus program of the European Union, and it started in November 2018. The project involves 9 partners that include VAT providers and associations, and the contribution from the EU to the project's budget is 700,000 euros. EUPC, European Plastics Converters from Belgium, is in charge of dissemination and exploitation activities for the Upskill project, and the webinar is, of course, one of our communication activities foreseen in the project. As for our guests today, it's my honor and pleasure to welcome Jordi from Circulize in the Netherlands, Grażyna from LINPRA from Lithuania, and Marc from ISPA in France. First, Jordi will present Circulize and talk about digitalization, cooperation, and the potential of the circular economy. Then we'll continue with presenting the progress of our Upskill project, and this is part reserved for our project coordinator, Grażyna. After that, Marc will discuss potential difficulties when multiple partners collaborate on a project and present some of the solutions. After each session, we will have a short Q&A, and also after all the presentations are done, we will have some additional time for your questions as well. Now we will move to our first speaker. Jordi is the founder of Circulize. He's been an entrepreneur since his first year of the university studies, which he traded to focus full-time on the Circulize. He lives and breathes technology. He is the mastermind behind Circulize strategy, who tirelessly work to create a circular economy in the digital age for organizations, big organizations such as Covestro, Domo Chemicals, Porsche, and many others. Jordi, please go ahead.
Thank you for the introduction, Marian. Just gonna share my screen real quick and kick it off. All right, so I am one of the founders of Circularize, and with Circularize, we are trying to bring transparency to global supply chains so that they can become more circular. So the relevance here is already known, of course, by the audience, I think, where both the European Commission is adding more legislation, brands are setting more and more ambitious sustainability targets, and also we see it, unfortunately, more often than not, fraud is happening in the supply chain where something is being claimed that it is recycled content, but sometimes it just isn't. So what we do is basically 2 things. So looking from the perspective of an OEM, like a Porsche, for instance, they want to know where the materials come from, but they have limited visibility in their supply chain. Of course, they know whom they're buying from, but go down a couple tiers, and it becomes riskier and riskier. And if they have any knowledge, it's usually based on papers and emails, which is, again, it's not very secure. Then from the other side, if you are a material producer, like a Covestro, for instance, and you make a lot of beautiful materials that are maybe more sustainable than others, it's very hard to communicate that claim all the way to the end of the supply chain where it actually holds the value. So in the end, we see this inefficiency here where, because information is lacking, you don't get to the true value or the true benefit of the material itself. So what we do is, well, the simple version here is we take a physical asset, let's say a resin, a bag of 1,000 kilograms, and we make a digital twin. So a digital twin is basically a copy of something in the digital space, but it has the same characteristics in terms of scarcity. So it's not like a PDF that you can just send to anyone and copy. But if you have 10,000 or 1,000 kilograms in a physical space, you also get 1,000 kilograms in the digital space. And to that 1,000 kilos, we can add all kinds of data. So this can be certificates, this can be sensor data, anything. But then we link the digital to the physical with the QR code, or we can go even as far as to inject a chemical tracer into the material itself. So how does that look like? What we have today, it means that this is like the view for one of our customers, where they can enter a scope certificate for their facility, which basically certifies that one plant for a specific aspect. And then based on that scope certificate, you can also attach transaction certificates. So in some of the markets, this is normal, or you can add manual data about your transaction. Then, of course, you ship the material to the next tier in the supply chain. So let's say a converter. And again, they take the physical asset and they do something with it. In this case, they make a part out of it. And you basically replicate that action also in a digital space. So you receive the digital twin of the material, the tokens, and you can split them up. You can form it into a new material. You can combine it with something else if you wanted to. And again, at that stage, you can attach more and more information. So this can be sensor data, again, certificates, again, anything that you would want to add there. This is the way it looks like in our platform that we have created. So this is a view based on the capabilities of your specific plant. And here they basically say, well, I have a base chemical and I'm making a polymer out of it. And then of course you get to the question of how do you do that? So you take this intake material on the left side here. Then of course there's an efficiency. This can be either set by the industry that well, that's the maximum that anyone can achieve. Of course, you can also set your own efficiency, but it has to be backed up by data or by certifications or by third-party audit. There is a way in our system to keep this a secret though, because we know that this is sometimes very sensitive data. So then in the end, if you're like an OEM, you receive your finished good. Again, at that stage, you can attach more and more data. But this is then what you see. So you have a purchase order, for instance, and you see exactly where the material came from, how it was put together. And if you were to click on any of those colored bars, for that stage, you would also see all the certifications. Now, of course, this follows. Let me do this first. So, of course, you can also go a step further, and you can go towards the consumer. This is what we also did with Porsche. Where Porsche not only tracked the materials coming in from a bunch of different suppliers, but they also made an app for their customers that they can see, like from the car, which part came from where, what are the claims around sustainability for that part. And then they also augmented it with points that you could score if you were to charge your car with green energy, for instance. You would get loyalty points based on that. So we've been doing this with a number of suppliers, number of brands. Unfortunately, still a lot is happening behind NDA. But as you can see, there are multiple companies in there. Sometimes they're even competing, and they're all using the same system. So I'm going to get back on that later, why that is possible. But first, nice quote from one or two of our customers. But then looking at the way you can make claims and how you should prove that, basically. There are a number of ways you can do this. Of course, certificate trading, quite easy to do. It's like CO2 credits. Usually it's based on self-reporting, sometimes with audits. Then, of course, the next level would be mass balancing, which is what I've showed you previously. But then the ultimate form would be identity preservation, where you can have something in your hands and say, for this specific part, this is the exact claim. Of course, this needs more data. So you're looking more into real-time verification as the way how you would get that data. And of course, you need to make that link with the physical and the digital really, really strong. So for that, you can use like a chemical tracer, for instance, in the material. Now, looking at different blockchains and database solutions that are out there, there are, of course, a number of options. So the one that most people are familiar with is just a central database where a party says, well, please give me all your data. I will store it. I might even encrypt it. And then I'll give it to whoever needs the data at a later stage. Of of course, if you do it that way, you're basically creating the Facebook of material data, which is not really the situation that we want to create. And another problem here is that if we talk about the way you secure data, if you use encryption, it basically means that you're computationally hiding something, which means that if you just throw enough computing power against it, someone can decrypt it. Now, looking at your bank account, for instance, when you log in, doesn't really matter that you use encryption. That's great, because over time, you will change your password, and over time, the bank can update their encryption. And even if someone were to be able to decrypt an old password of yours, it doesn't matter because it's outdated. Well, if you now talk about the secret recipe of your chemicals, or your chemical composition that you want to keep a secret, it doesn't matter. You basically have unlimited time. If you store it on a blockchain, so to say, even if it takes 10 years, someone will find out. So you'll never store your really sensitive data and just encrypt it and give it away. So for that, there's another layer of security, which is called zero knowledge proofs, which basically means that you can keep your data a secret. You don't have to show it to anyone. You don't have to share it, but you can prove to others certain statements about that data. Now, the first tier in that is that you can hide the transactions that are happening within a network. So nobody gets to see your suppliers and what kind of deal you've made there. And of course, the ultimate goal there is that you can hide any kind of data. So that means all the material data out there. Of course, with that also comes the question of governance. So who then controls this system? And in there, you also have different layers. So you can go for a private permission blockchain, where it's basically a bigger central database that's shared between a couple of parties, all the way to public permissionless, like the Ethereum network, where anyone can join. It's open. No one owns it. So now we get to this part where we can have competitors working on the same system, and that is this technology, which we call smart questioning, which is a way that someone in a supply chain who then receives an object can ask a question about it. For instance, does it contain a flame retardant? And this question is posted throughout the network to all the parties that have ever touched this product. And on their own servers, there's a calculation happening where they get to the answer of this question, and only that answer travels through the network. Now, cryptographically, we can prove that it was still based on that original data that this person had, but you don't get to see the actual data. Now, in practice, this looks, well, this is an example screen for the WILABEX, the legislation on electronic recycling, where, of course, we know a number of questions that are on the right side. Then on the left side, the owner of the data can decide how granular they want their answer to be. So do you want to give an exact number? Do you want to give a range? Or do you just want to say, well, it's there or it's not there? Now, the really interesting part in this technology is that if you were to link all the data that you have available at that time, even if there's no question being asked right now, even at a later stage, you would be able to answer a question that maybe we haven't thought of just now, but you can still prove that it's based on the original data. So just imagine if this was the case, for instance, with asbestos, when we put it in all our homes. Like later we found out it wasn't a good idea. This technology would be able to just, adapt to that new situation. And again, talking like this example that we use for recycling of electronics, like electronics, they have a lifespan of 7 to 10 years. So right now we don't know what recycling is going to look like 7 to 10 years down the line, and that's okay. We should deal with that uncertainty. So another part of what we're doing is basically, if we go back and we say, well, this is a great piece of software, but now what, right? Circular economy is not bound to some geographical area or some field of business. It should be for everything and for everyone. So with this in mind, we said, well, actually what we're creating, it should also have an open protocol, just like email. So we've been emailing a lot last couple of months, I think. And for that, there are all these protocols that happen in the background, but it doesn't matter what kind of client I use, like Gmail or Outlook, we can all communicate, and it works. And we see that same thing happening for transparency, where we say, well, these are the rules on how we should communicate. And it doesn't matter if you buy a circularized system or some other vendor or you build your own, it should all work the same way, because there's no way that one company can have 100% market share in this, a monopoly. It should not be the case. It should be open and accessible to everyone. So also with our customers, besides doing all these great pilots and projects, we're also working on this open protocol. So right now, I mean, we are still a startup. We have been funded by the European Commission multiple times now. And we've just completed the piloting phase, and we're now moving towards commercialization, where the biggest steps now would be integration with the major ERP systems. So that all of this that I've just shown you with a nice screenshot can actually happen automatically, because no one likes entering data. Still a small team, rapidly scaling right now. So we expect before the end of this year to add 5 new people to our team. And this would be my presentation. Thank you very much.
Thank you a lot, Jordi. This is definitely something very interesting technology, and something that is coming soon, or it's already here. And blockchain is used more and more when it comes to data and encryption. So one question coming from me would be, is it possible to this technology, because we are claiming different things, so is it possible to fake the numbers, or this is the system that is able to recognize this due to the blockchain and different companies or different people being involved?
So it's not possible to fake anything if it's already on the system. So just like Bitcoin, I cannot print Bitcoins out of thin air, otherwise it would be very rich right now. So from the moment it's on the system, it's basically set in stone, and you can transact with it. The problem still remains, though, is what is actually entering the system. So if you put garbage in, it's always going to be garbage out. So because of that, our system is relying on existing certifications and documentation. So that first claim that you're making is always backed up by tangible data audited by third parties. After that, it's unchangeable. You can always update it, though. So, but the original will always be there.
Okay, we briefly saw where you currently are as a startup, and you know, creating open protocol as email is. I believe it's going to be, let's say, building different partnership and cooperations. So what are the next steps? You have big companies already, but I'm assuming in order to have this technology, you know, out there and used by many companies, it's going to require some partnerships and cooperation. So what are the next steps when it comes to the Circleize and, of course, to this open protocol that you would like to create?
Yeah. Of course, you can never have enough partnerships. So we're also very happy with having you on board in that area. I think the biggest challenge here is trying to figure out, together with all these partners, on what then this minimum amount of data should be. And how can we make sure that when someone claims, for instance, a calculation on CO2 on one part of the world, that the same type of calculation is being done somewhere else, so to become comparable, so that in the end, if there's a brand sitting in yet another part of the world, that they have one standardized set of data. So again, we see our role as Circleize more on creating this information highway, but we are very dependent on all of these standardizations effort happening everywhere in the world, where they talk about, okay, what does circular mean? What does recycled mean? How can you measure it, etc.
And then when it comes to the security, and I know from many other projects that I did, because asking companies to put in the numbers that are valuable to them, and you know, sometimes as a business secret, is the, I know that nothing is, you know, 100% secure, but when it comes to the, you know, different, okay, we talked about encoding, but do you see this technology and the system that you are building much more secure than normal encryptions? Or how would you?
Like, by definition, it would be more secure because of how you're handling the data. Having said that, the weakest link will always be the actual implementation itself. So this is just another way of protecting data, but if you don't do the correct type of setup, for instance, when you start, then it doesn't matter. Then it's still a risk. So this also, with our customers, we're now looking into the best way of doing this, providing guides and making sure that it becomes easier over time for any new party that is joining.
Okay. We have a question. Are companies which can apply your technology already sufficiently digitalized to automatically insert their data into your platform?
Yeah, not all, unfortunately. But then again, this is a shift that we are seeing that is happening quite rapidly. So I would say that it's not too difficult to make that switch. Like, we're even working with companies that are in places where even the internet is not as well integrated as we're used to, and even there it works. Maybe by adapting certain parts of our technology, by maybe using a phone, for instance, that's a lot easier. Yeah, it just depends on the company on how far they can go with automation.
Okay, I would say a final question from me, and I know that always it's the consumer and the public perception, especially in this field, is very important. Would be one of the goals that me as a consumer can see the product and then take my phone and scan it and have it in the app saying, how much recycled content is in there that is verified. Would that be one of the goals as well?
Yeah, we can already do that, and we can go even a step further, where if you scanned something in the past, if it then, for instance, ends up at a recycling facility and it is recycled, we could also communicate that information back to the person, so that you know that if you're doing the right action, that there's actually a result coming out of that.
Okay, cool. Thank you very much for this interesting presentation and for answering our questions. We'll also have a Q&A session at the end, so I ask all our viewers to feel free to type their questions, and I'm going to ask our panelists as well. So now we're going to move to Grażyna. Just a bit of introduction. Grażyna has a bachelor degree of education and science and master's degree of company law. She worked for 5 years as an international relations manager at the Ministry of Finance of the Republic of Lithuania. From 2018, she's a project manager coordinator in LINPRA with the main responsibility of managing projects related to education in the engineering field. Among other projects, she's, of course, our project coordinator for UPSKILL project. Grażyna.
Thank you, Marian. Hello to everyone. I will try to share my presentation now. I hope you see it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's start. Yes, I'm Grażyna. I'm working in LINPRA. This is Lithuanian Engineering Industries Association, and we are the main coordinators of the UPSKILL project. So today I would like to give you some information on what the UPSKILL is, what the project is about, what aims we have set, and what results we have already achieved. So first of all, I will go through facts and figures, main goals, the importance of digital transformation, and the consortium of our project. The full title of the project is The Skills for the Digital Future of Plastic Factories. As Marian has already mentioned, it started in 2018, and it was estimated that the project will last for 2 years, but as the COVID has shaken our lives and messed all our plans, vet schools were closed, we asked for prolongation of the project, and now it will last for 30 months and end in April of 2021. Here we are 9 partners. Here we have vet providers and associations. And yes, the project is co-funded by the EU. So at the beginning, we have set 2 main goals. First of all, we decided that we need to analyze and identify qualifications and European vet curricula for plastics machine operators, and to see what curriculum do we have in European countries, in Lithuania, in Finland, in France, and as well to ask employees, plastic industry companies, what skills are needed in their companies. So here is additional information here indicated, because at first we analyzed the curricula for plastics machine operators, but as the project proceeded and there was a close cooperation between partners, we exchanged our experience and saw that we need to create a program, a training material for a high level of qualification. So we decided to go further and create material for plastics production line or machine conductors. So the analysis was made, and we had a report on this. Following this, we are now working and developing a work-based learning vocational training program. And our wish is to integrate digital programming, circular economy, and lean manufacturing skills there. The digitalization is a very relevant issue all around the world, and Europe is no exception here. Companies are going digital. They install smart machines that need smart employees to work with them. So unfortunately, at the moment, companies still face problems, and it's difficult for them to find skilled employees and that could fit for the current markets. And the demand for such employees is really high. So there is a risk that the lack of skilled people will have a negative impact on the EU businesses and governments to benefit from the opportunities of digitalization. In addition, the European Commission, knowing this, has identified also new curriculum guidelines as one of the solutions for increasing the EU talent pool and fostering the acquisition of new skills. They decided that this should be done creating new vocational education and training so that it could promote new type of skills such as digital skills, green skills, entrepreneurial competences, and etc. So here, as I have already mentioned, we are 9 partners in the UPSKILL project. We have vet providers from Lithuania, from Finland and France. We have associations, UPC, Belgium, LINPRA, FPC Association from France, and FIPIF, Finnish Association. And we have one public body. This is a Lithuanian National Coordination Point for implementing EQF and EquaVet to vet programs. So what is our approach? Of course, we approach plastic industry and challenges it faces. So our project aim is mainly to address these challenges through various activities. So the European plastics industry enables innovation, facilitates resource efficiency, and creates jobs. It's really a large industry and accounts for approximately 5,000 companies and 1.6 million jobs. So this is a huge industry that needs now really skilled people. And in order for the European plastics industry to remain competitive, we need to have competitive and talented and qualified people. So the project addresses the skills mismatch and pressing problems in the sector. So we distinguished these two problems: low-level digital skills of plastics production line conductors and overall lack of highly competent and motivated workforce. To address these challenges, we here aim to create a European VET curriculum that would correspond this need. And we are aiming to design, pilot, and implement an innovative vocational training program. The focus of the project, besides the technical field, is laid also on digital skills, green skills, entrepreneurial competences. And we very much hope that the project will enhance the quality of vocational training and improve the competence of teachers and plastics production line conductors, will make that curriculum in this field more relevant to the labor market, will address the needs of the companies, and will provide students and teachers with the opportunity to use innovative digital materials. So what activities do we have here in the UPSKILL project? Mainly we have 7 work packages. As you see, work package 1, this is the research which I have already mentioned. It has been performed and the report has been written. According to the needs indicated in the research, we have created a model VET curriculum. Following it, we have been working and designing training material for students and teachers. And at the moment, starting from September, we are now in piloting phase and all the material is being piloted. The plan is to finish piloting by the end of this year. After that, we will come back with the results of the piloting, with some suggestions for improvement, and improve our VET curriculum and all the material. And here we have also 3 work packages that are ongoing through the whole project. So VP5 is dedicated to ensure quality of the whole process and of the material. VP6, here we need to disseminate our project and to ensure the exploitation of the project's results with the help and leadership of the UPC, and of course, project management. Who are our target groups? Mainly they are students and apprentices in vocational education, professionals and teachers in vocational training, staff of vocational education providers, in-company trainers, plastics production line conductors working in enterprises, unemployed, migrants, adults aiming for requalification. Here I would like to notice that all the material is designed to fit not only public VET schools, but also it may be used in the companies. The teachers may be not so much skilled, but they can use all the material and learn from it and teach the newcomers. Okay, so results. What do we expect and what we have already achieved? The expected results is to have an EQF-based model VET curriculum, to have training material, and to pilot all the prepared material. At least we need to pilot the material with 20 VET trainers and 50 students. And of course, all the material will be produced in English, French, Finnish, and Lithuanian languages. And we very much hope that project will enhance the quality of vocational training in this field and improve competence of VET teachers and plastic production line conductors, and make that curriculum more relevant to the labor market. So we already have EQF-based VET curriculum and program, which comprises these main skills. Of course, basic skills on manufacturing of plastic products, job-specific skills, programming and digital skills, robotics, green skills, lean manufacturing, entrepreneurial skills, and health and safety at work. What have we already achieved? So here is our teacher's book and our student's book. This is a picture taken from the Google Drive, which was the main tool for us to cooperate in writing the books. Very many teachers from different backgrounds with different knowledge have cooperated, and we have managed to produce 2 books. Both of them are comprised of 16 units. But I guess Mark will speak much more about it and will tell how work was being done. What long terms are expected? We very much expect that plastics production line conductors will be capable of systemic thinking and entrepreneurial mindset due to technical, lean manufacturing, and soft skills integrated in the VET curriculum. We also expect that employees will get graduate students that are ready to go to work very quickly, to learn quickly. And they will receive just-in-time talent from the classroom to the shop floor. And of course, what was performed here in the project, we interacted with companies creating the material, and we very much hope that in long-term results, educational centers and industry companies will cooperate to match their needs, and that curriculums will be well adapted to the company's needs. If you would like to get more information about the UPSKILL project, you are very welcome to contact me or look for more information on our website, LinkedIn profile, or write an email to our inbox. And here you see the picture of our new life, our new normal, new meetings. They all went online, and this is a picture of our last steering committee meeting. Thank you for your attention. If you have any more insights, suggestions, questions, please ask.
Thank you, Grażyna. So thank you for a very, very interesting presentation. I think we should just mention that we are now in really this part of the project where we drafted and created all these syllabuses that are now being tested. Maybe just to mention which institutions are involved in this, how many students, and then what would be the next steps after this pilot phase is done.
Yes, at the moment, starting from September, all the draft material is being piloted in 2 VET schools in Lithuania, in VET school in Finland, and in ISPA in France. The piloting should last for about 4 months, and it includes teachers, professionals in plastics, and teachers who are experts in other fields, but they just take the book and pilot it with the students. The students are also employees in factories, so some trainers come from factories and try it in work-based environment. So we very much hope that we will get some concrete, specific insights, suggestions for improvement, and this work package should be really beneficial and bring much good to our material.
So the idea, of course, is that we'll take all this feedback and come back to our writing and reading table and adapted all the syllabuses accordingly.
Yes, yes.
I think just to mention that all the material will be available in 4 languages. Also, it will be available on our website and on the website of the partners, of course. When would be the envisaged date now to have this all ready? Because, of course, because of the current situation, we had to move a bit project and extend it.
Yeah, we will have the final improved material available to everyone in March 2021.
Okay. Thank you a lot. We are finishing this section and now we'll move on to the next part, to Mark from ISPA. After that, we will also have a Q&A session, so feel free to ask your questions. I'll be more than happy to read them. So Mark works for 10 years as an electronic engineer in France and in the US. He specialized in microcontroller positioning systems for telecommunications. Then he held different positions such as department manager and teacher in a regional vocational training center for industry, e-learning, project manager in the same center. Since 2014, Mark is a science teacher and a project manager at ISPA. Mark, feel free.
Okay. Thank you, Marian. Okay, I'm going to share my document. You have it? Yes? Okay. Yes, as Marian just said, I'm a teacher here at ISPA, which is a vet provider here in France, and we are a partner on the UPSKILL project. ISPA is specialized in plastics processing industry and teaching from the technician positions to the engineer positions. Actually, I'm going to focus here on one work package of the UPSKILL project that Georgina just presented, which is the work package number 3, which consisted in producing, in fact, the books, the resources, the teaching resources. So I was asked to deal with challenges, obstacles, and potential solutions during this part of the project. This is a good opportunity for me to step back and analyze what's been going on around this work package for the UPSKILL project. First of all, I will present the work package 3, which is kind of the heart of the project. It consists in designing training material, as Georgina said, actually for students and for teachers. And for this work package, ISPA is a work package leader. So I'm work package leader here at ISPA. And I have been conducting all the work either inside ISPA with my colleagues, specialists of plastics processing, and also with all of our partners. So actually, as we designed it in the work package 2, which is the curriculum, we wanted to base our work on the skills, mainly on skills, technical skills, organizational skills, and relational skills, and also, of course, deal with the attached knowledge, necessary knowledge for the skills. But this is an important issue. It was an important issue in the discussion among partners because the skills approach, competencies approach in teaching is not that easy to do and to realize on in our training centers. So we had a lot of discussions on that, and not to forget, of course, all the fields like digital, green skills, and entrepreneurial skills that we had to deal with. We also had discussions about for what position we were going to work, and we hesitated between operator positions and plastic machine line conductor, and that's enhanced the fact that we had some difficulties here among partners to understand and to have the same terms for different positions in the company. So we had to deal with that first. The work package is divided in 3 tasks, and as you can see, the first one is the development, creation of the student's book. The second one is the development of the teacher's book, and the third one relates to the translation and adaptation of the training material to each country. So I've been piloting the whole work package, but fortunately we had to share the responsibilities of working on the 3 different tasks. The main one was to initiate all this work with the task number 3.1, which is the student's book. So I'm going to focus on the work we realized around this work package, and as Grażyna just showed, we already have finished the first phase of this work, since we can now work on the piloting phase, and all the material is ready now to be tested. So for the, I just divided my slides on the different themes I was asked to talk about. So here I want to present the challenges we faced as a team here. So I needed to get back, to step back a lot on the work, on this work package, and that was a very good exercise, because actually I realized that we had many challenges to go over. The first one I just wrote here is some kind of a pedagogical issue, and the question that we had to answer was what is the end use of the deliverable? Was it a book or a manual? And the difference here is quite important, because actually in my mind, but we had discussions, so I think we all agreed with that at the end. But if we designed a book, it was just a book with knowledge in it, and so traditional book, you know, where everybody can go and find contents, and then build his own way of bringing the knowledge to the students. But actually, that seemed to be quite a too short approach. What we thought about was to create a manual. A manual has in its content, in its structure, as a pedagogical approach included. That means that we decided to build a document where students and teachers would find activities. So it can be used directly on the floor, can be used in the classrooms, and you can just pick activities inside the units and do the work and share the work with the students. So that was the approach we decided to have. So we had to structure each unit. So we had some kind of a template for the structure of a unit with different types of activities, like discovery activities, like documentary research, like practical activities, of course, and so on. So that gave us the framework for all of us, for all the partners. And once we all agreed on that, it was much easier to go forward. The other challenge was, the question was how to share ideas and make collective decisions with everybody's agreement. Of course, as it's proper to the European project, we are far away from each other. We don't speak the same language, and so we have to share language so that not everybody manage the same way. So we have other also activities around. So we needed to have some means to share ideas and make collective decisions together. So we found some solution, and the collective approach consisted in, for this work package, consisted in having teams working on the different units of the manual. So we decided to have expert teams throughout the partners, and for each unit we had a unit leader. So one unit leader is managing one expert team on one chapter. So that was a good way. That's been a good way to try to share experience, share the work, and have all the partners involved at the same level. So we based on our approach on the fields of expertise, of course, among the partners. So that was a good way to have teams, expert teams working, being very performing. The design cooperation among partners also was set up with the manual approach, but that was a very important issue. And we really needed to find a way to share the productions, what we realized, what we designed, and to share it in real time as much as we could, so that there wouldn't be any moment where nothing was happening or all that. But we needed to, that was something I was very aware of, is how we can get all the partners always in action. How to meet deadlines, but that's the question, general question for any project management. But that was a big challenge, I think so. But we found some solutions. I will talk about that later. And the other big issue was is still how to ensure a high quality level of the productions, because here we are dealing with pedagogical contents, and we all know that discussions are never ending on this subject. So we needed to make sure that everybody was talking about the same things together, and we also had to decide what is the high quality level, because high enough, I would say. But the structure we decided to have with the manual was a good way to set up all that. But we needed to discuss and explain to everybody what we were supposed to find in each section of each unit of the manual. Another challenge was how to manage the work package with the partners and with the colleagues inside ISPA. Actually, talking about work package 3, I myself is the work package leader here for the partners and also for the colleagues here. But I found out that it was not that easy to get the colleagues inside ISPA to work, get them to work on the project, because of course they are busy with all kinds of activities and particularly teaching. And I needed for that to get some organization, very efficient organization to make sure that everything was produced. For the partners, working with the partners, I already talked about that, but that was a regular issue because of the distance, because of the different level of involvement sometimes and all that. So, and the last question, of course, how to use the same language. When I say that, it's not just the country language, but also we discovered that for some points, very technical points or very pedagogical points, we were not always talking the same language, or we were not using the same words for the same subject. So we had to we took some time in order to get everything to the right level on that point. So this is most of the challenges I think about. Maybe there are some others I didn't think about, but all these elements had to be taken into account in order to get the project on the good way. So concerning obstacles, actually we had to deal with some differences between partners related to the institutional vocational training context. Just before, I was talking about the skills approach, competencies approach for the pedagogy, and we noticed, I noticed that we are not between all among all the partners, we are not at the same point in our way of building training programs and all that. And as the skills approach is being developed in Europe right now, and we are still, even here at ISPA, we are still dealing with this issue, and it's not that easy, and we have not all the answers right now yet, but we are on our way, and it was very interesting to share experiences and positions between partners on this issue. Also, what could have been an obstacle may have been at some point the expectations of each partner with regards to its own operational environment. Of course, we must not forget that the final use of this work is very operational. So as it was said before, so we had to deal with these differences, you know, and we are not all the partners in the same situations and the same level of integration of this type of teaching and all that. So it was some kind of an obstacle that we had to go over. The other thing, I just talked about that also, is the integration of the project, of the work on the project into the everyday workload. I'm sure that I know that our partners had that difficulty too, but I really lived that here inside the ISPA. It was very difficult to deal with that, particularly with my colleagues, teachers, technicians, you know, specialists of plastics processing. And that has some kind of, it was some kind of difficult issue as far as regular progress we could do on the project. So we actually, I noticed that we worked, you know, sometimes we could do a big step on the project, and then it would stop for several weeks, and it was kind of hard to get people to work on a regular basis. And also another issue is the duration of working sessions. What I mean here is that designing training material requires long enough sessions, working sessions. You cannot do designing for, you know, for 1 hour and then go to some other activity. You need at least half a day of work, or the best I think is a full day of work, and that's kind of complicated to, you know, to add this type of rhythm inside the regular work in a training center. And the language, I already talked about that, but we had to actually deal with the differences in levels of English language proficiency among partners, which is a reality because we all share the English language as a common language, but it's not so easy. And also, as far as technical terms also are concerned, I felt some difficulties. Actually, I'm still feeling them because I'm right in the middle of the translation of the units in French in order to organize the piloting, and I'm always, you know, in front of difficulties with the translation of technical terms. It's not that easy, and we kind of have sometimes difficulties to find the right word, you know, to describe the same process or the same part of a machine and all that. But we have solutions, and we had solutions, and we still have solutions. I am, you know, as all along the work package, and I had discussions with the partners about that. I noticed that we need directivity in the work. I wrote here ratchet effect. That means that we cannot afford to you know, to discuss, spend a lot of time discussing and what is right, what is not right, and what we should do and what we shouldn't do. Actually, as a work package leader, I found out that we really needed, I needed to show some directivity at some points in order to get the project go forward. So that's something very important. Setting deadlines. Also, we had some discussions about that with Marianne. And actually, it's a real important question for every step inside the work package. We set up deadlines in order to get all the partners agree with these deadlines and produce what they were supposed to produce. That was also it is a very important element in such a project. Also, we discovered, as the project was going along, we discovered that we really needed regular communication between partners by different means, like emails, telephone, of course. But also we set up web meetings. At one point, we decided to set up web meetings, regular web meetings. And I think Marianne and Grajina would agree about the fact that these web meetings helped all of us, a lot in order to get the project go forward on a good basis. Also, we had to make sure that everybody was informed, that the informations, the thoughts, the ideas were shared by everybody. So I tried to make sure that when I was sending emails and sending information, that all the partners would be aware of what was being decided on the project, on this actually on the work package. And also we tried to find consensus on all issues, which was not that easy because of the differences I just talked about before. And the other solution, also something that helped us a lot, was to have a permanent sharing of the framework of the project. Not only the framework, but all the contents that were created. Actually, when once we started working with the expert teams, we decided to use a Google Drive as a tool in order to share the documents in their state, you know, and so people, everybody, all the partners could go on the Google Drive and upload the documents and that were produced and make comments and improve them and all that. And that was very, that's very useful, very interesting approach, and we are still using this approach for the documents. Well, I think that's it for my my experience as a work package leader, and I'm ready to answer any question.
Thank you, Mark. I think it was really insightful now to see, you know, a bit from the audience part about our project and work on work package 3. That was quite challenging for everyone. I think that both Grażyna and myself, we do remember how much effort and time we put into this. Just to let our audience know that there will be 16 units to these manuals, both for students and teachers. And I know that you had a much bigger burden than all of us because of this, because you are a work package leader. So my question would be, what was the hardest part?
I think the hardest part is still going on. Actually, it is to make sure that we will achieve a high level quality, a high quality level of the manual, you know, of the different units that we are producing, because it's almost from the beginning, it's almost impossible to make sure that at the first trial we will get the same level of contents and the same types of contents on all the units. And I'm sure, and I know because I'm working on translation in French now, so I'm really going through all the contents of the units as far as the French version is concerned, and I already found differences. So it's for sure it will be an issue for the next weeks, next months.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's an ongoing work. We want to deliver the quality material, and we still have some time until March. But as we learned during this work package, time passes very quickly. I have one question from Darius. What kind of mistakes you will try to avoid or perform differently if you could return time back? Ask if it would be possible to identify 3 things.
Yeah. Actually, I don't know if there are mistakes, but maybe improvements we could have as far as maybe the building of the teams, expert teams, maybe. sure that everybody would be well informed about what was expected from them. You know, maybe some information level of information was missing for certain people, because actually there are a lot of people who worked on the units as experts, and that we myself, I just had the opportunity to send emails and all that, but that's it, that's all. So maybe we should have informed people maybe much better at the beginning on what was expected from them. But that's always difficult. Is another thing. I actually I don't. It's kind of difficult for me to find other improvement as of now. You know, we are still in the middle of the work. I'm kind of you know, as we all are, as Regina is, and we all are, we're kind of proud of the work achieved right now, because we have a manual, we have a book, we have a big document that provides all kinds of contents for our learners, you know. So that's we had a big step. We achieved a big work at the end of August with this. With these two manuals being, even though we know that they need to be improved. Well, that's about it on the situation, on the improvement I could think of right now.
Just to add up, all the problems that we always identify, we'll just, you know, resolving them as it goes, simply by learning by doing. There was a comment also from Darius. Thank you very much for your comments and insights. Actually, it's very useful for the other project as well. I think this captures nicely, because this was the idea also behind this presentation, to give other people that are working on a similar projects some kind of solutions that they can overcome different hurdles and problems. Mm-hmm. So there was one question for Jordi. Jordi, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I'm still here.
Okay. There was one question for you. I understand this system creates a digital copy of a physical product. My difficulty to understand is raw material, then integrated into a final product. Once this final product is discarded or recycled, how do we split up raw materials to know where raw materials ended up?
Yeah.
That's from Samuel Aleman.
Everything that we do is based on the actual volume of a product or a material. So you can have a finished product, for instance, and then send it to a recycler, who can then update the token, so to say, thereby splitting it into multiple components again. So the only thing that's not possible is creating something out of thin air. But you can keep updating, and this also means that if a true circular economy actually exists, you would be able to count the loops and see what happened in previous life cycles as well.
I think that this explains nicely. There's one more question, but it's not getting through. I would say that all the presentations were quite to the point and very clear, and we are just on time, I would say. So from my part, thank you, Grażyna, Jordi, and Mark. It was definitely a pleasure to host you all and to bring closer Circleize and Upskill project to the general public and all the companies, VAT institutions, and people working in our industry. Also, in my name and the name of UPC, I would like to thank our audience for joining us today. I wish you all a nice day. Please stay healthy, and goodbye until next time.
Thank you, Marian. Thank you, everyone.
Thank
Bye.
you.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you. Bye.